time for Tobago segment. Very exciting as always. The infamous Tobago Jazz Experience takes place from April 27th through to the 29th. Joining us on set from Tobago, we have George Leacock, Executive Chairman of the Tobago Festivals Commission. And actually, later on, we'll be talking to Mr. George Leacock and Jared Prima. However, at this time, we'll be talking about road safety traffic violations. Actually, that is a Skype interview. I understand joining us on Skype is Sofiat Mohammed, Assistant Transport Commissioner, and Corporal Andre Sabro, Traffic Division, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, how are you all doing this morning?
Very good.
Fine, thank you.
So, we're talking about road safety traffic violations. In a recent news article, it was noted that approximately $9.6 million was spent in speeding tickets and was issued since January 2018, a record figure. What would you say would be the reason for this?
Go ahead.
Basically, the motoring public, by and large, we would have recently had an increase in the speed limit from 50 kilometers per hour along the Claude Noel Highway to 80 kilometers per hour. And we recognize that there are still some motorists who are still not paying heed or cognizant to the traffic speed limits. So we would have increased our speed exercises on the island, and for the year thus far, we would have issued over 500 tickets in Tobago for violations of the speeding offenses.
Okay. And many persons are quite surprised that speed tickets are not limited to highways. Would you say that there is more of an effort on enforcing traffic violations in all areas as opposed to just the highways?
We have introduced, not just on the highways, but even the secondary roads. We would have also had speed exercises conducted. These areas, we realize that motorists still tend to exceed the speed limit, and we would have continued to increase our patrols so as to minimize the continuance of accidents along the roadways.
Okay. Also, a very important question about dangerous driving or driving on the shoulder, drunk driving. For instance, these people may not necessarily be speeding. How are these incidents monitored and enforced?
Daily, we have patrols along the Claude Noel Highway, especially during the peak hours, which would be the morning times and the evening times persons traversing to and from work. We have the highway patrol, which is very vigilant on the roadways, and we treat with indiscriminate overtaking and the use of the shoulders along the Claude Noel Highway. We have also issued several tickets for these violations, and we continue to advocate to the motoring public that there is no need to speed. Your safety is important, and we continue to try to bridge that gap between the police and the motoring public to ensure safety and security throughout the nation's roadways.
Okay, and I'd like to bring into the conversation the Assistant Transport Commissioner, Mr. Mohammed. We'd like to talk a little bit about the amount of tourists that are held in speed traps. What are your comments on that?
Well, the thing is that tourists who are here generally are aware of the rules and regulations of our roads, and we expect that they would abide by those rules and regulations.
And based on statistics, would you say that there is normally a large number of tourists that are not adhering to our rules?
Well, we have to remember that most of our tourists are really domestic tourists who are using roadways. Generally, they are very familiar with the speed limits, the rules and regulations, and as a matter of fact, these people would be quite familiar.
Okay, great. And also, what about people who own car rental companies and tourists or any visiting persons renting vehicles and speeding? Who is made to pay for those tickets?
Well, the actual person who is renting the vehicle would be liable overall for the offenses that are committed while using the vehicle.
Okay, great. Corporal Sabru, we spoke a little bit about dangerous driving, driving on the shoulder and that sort of thing. But another question, can individuals or witnesses call in to report certain vehicles that are seen speeding or driving dangerously on the highways and there's not any police vehicles around?
Of course, we seek to get the assistance from the public because the police cannot always be there. And when motorists recognize that there are other motorists committing breaches of the traffic laws, they can record the vehicle number and call the nearest police station or the nearest police officer who is in uniform and give them the information. And we would act upon such information.
Great. Also, would you say that there is regular use of speed traps and cameras in Tobago?
Oh, yes. We are ever present on the roadways, ensuring that our motoring public, because we have to recognize that we in Tobago, we depend on the tourism product, and not just our citizens alone, likewise international visitors regionally and internationally, we have to ensure their safety. So it is important for us within the TTPS to ensure that we are ever present on the roadways, continuing to make an impact for road safety and for the violations and the carnage on our roadways to be minimized.
Great. And also, Mr. Mohammed, do you believe that there is enough manpower to patrol Tobago?
Well, of course, there's always a need for the increased manpower. As a matter of fact, there has always been a shortage of manpower in Tobago. But be that as it may, it does not deter our ability or our efforts to ensure that we have the roads of Trinidad and Tobago generally safe place.
Great. And also, Mr. Sabru, Corporal Sabru, how can citizens contribute to road safety? For those looking on wondering, how can they be part of the solution? What do you have to say?
Road safety is a holistic one in that it involves each and every one of us. We all have families. We all would like to be with our families when we leave our homes and we traverse the roadways. And I believe that it takes a holistic effort with the police, with the citizenry, together. Let us be better individuals, have better driving habits, be courteous on the roadways, ensure that you comply with the regulations, use of the seat belts, do not breach the red stop lights, be patient, and I'm certain that it would go a long way in that we would be safe and we would keep Tobago a safer place where road safety is concerned.
And also, what about trucks and buses who occupy the fast lane of highways? What are the rules for this? And tickets being issued to buses also who break their speed limit?
In Tobago, along the highway, we just have a dual carriageway. We do not have double lanes or triple lanes as there is in Trinidad. So that, but if it is that we find that there's a bus violating the speed limit, we also ticket such vehicles. Trucks, goods vehicles, we have also issued tickets for the exceeding of the speed limit to such vehicles.
All right. Also, what about the weight of trucks? Is this being monitored?
Yes, we do. We monitor the weight of the vehicles, the load that they would be conveying. We also ensure that these loads are secured. And in the absence of this, we also ensure we issue tickets for these violations.
And what are the fines or punishments that a delinquent driver may face?
One can be ticketed for up to $1,000 for exceeding the speed limit. Dangerous driving, you can also be issued a fixed penalty ticket for up to a sum of $3,000.
All right, and another question. Is it true, it's just a rumor, I'm not too sure, myth perhaps. Is it true that in Tobago you can actually take a left turn on a red light?
No, there are some intersections that you have to actually come to a complete stop. And when it is clear to proceed, then you make a left turn.
Okay, on the red?
On the red, when it is clear.
When it's clear.
Once you come to a complete stop and you ensure that it is clear to proceed, then you can negotiate and make a left turn onto the highway.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. Your closing comments, Mr. Mohammed?
Well, I would just like to implore the members of the driving public to ensure that they follow the rules of the road and extend courtesies and patience while on the road.
Okay, great. And your closing comments, Corporal Sabro?
Well, I would like to let the motoring public know that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is here to assist in any given way whereby we can ensure that we decrease the carnage that is taking place on our roadways. For the year thus far, we have recorded only one road fatality in Tobago, and we do hope that it is still one too many, but we do hope that we can continue to keep the road fatality down, not just in Tobago, but our counterparts in Trinidad also.
Great. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to be part of our program this morning. Certainly a pleasure chatting with you. We've been talking about road safety traffic violations with Assistant Transport Commissioner Sufayat Mohammed and the Traffic Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services Corporal Andre Sabro.